Joe Flacco, special time, special season. November 20 is the day he was signed to the practice squad. At one point, he was the starting quarterback of the Browns and not on the roster. He had reverted back to the practice squad, but we've seen it all year. There's only so much time before the chariot turns into a pumpkin on these backup quarterbacks. They're backups for a reason. He was unemployed for a reason. After you get a few games of film out there, you figure out what to do, you get into higher stakes like this. And he played well early on, but there was always that shakiness. There was a throw. There were a couple throws. I was like,
yeah, you're like, oh, man, that's dicey. Right,
yeah.
right.
But yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by what happened because I thought in that moment it was just time. As much as I wanted to see the Browns go back to Baltimore and I wanted to see Flacco play the Ravens, I didn't feel like it was in the cards.
Well, and the way the game unfolded and the fact that it became a shootout a little bit, and something we had talked about a lot towards the end of the season, them throwing the ball 45 times with Joe Flacco was not the recipe to get you to the Super Bowl or win you playoff football games. I think ultimately, hey, they lost their tackles. That was a big deal. They lost their backup tackles to a degree. So that really affected their ability to run the football. And, I think that's where, again, you talk about teams and overall team, and the offense needs to match the defense to play complementary football, right? That's where the Browns didn't make sense in that department to me. They should have been more of like, let's take the ugly approach, let's play through the defense a little bit. But it was just always pedal to the metal on both sides of the football. And when you get to Flacco, right, to me, this was the biggest play of the game. Fringe field goal territory, 1st and 10. You're down by 10. You kick a field goal. The game is still competitive. You're still in it. This was you can't win the game on this play, but you can lose it. And that's exactly what happened to the Cleveland Browns. Now, here, slow it down, guys, here. And again, this is the over-aggressive nature of Cleveland, and we know Joe Flacco has this in him already. But look, they're running a slant and go out to the left to Elijah Moore. He's got it. He knows he's got it. But this is why I was always saying rein it in with Flacco, because when you call these type of plays, even with somebody hanging on him, he's going, I'm going to still try to throw it. I got it. And, of course, it becomes an interception. And, of course, they have the desperation 4th and 2. It was a bad route. It's a bad throw. All of it. Pick 6, night, see you later, Cleveland. And the Houston Texans were off and running, but disappointing for Cleveland.
Great finish to the season.
Yeah.
Great story. But you know what it does? It really complicates things next year. More pressure on Deshaun Watson next year. More pressure on him. More pressure on the team. Look at what they did without Deshaun Watson.
I'm sure he's happy they lost.
This is year 3.
Right? Yeah.
Coming up
on
the 5-year fully guaranteed contract. And if he can't stay healthy, if they don't win, I don't know what happens in 2025. They're going to be as much of a wild card in 24 as they were in 23. Going into the season, we're just not going to know what to expect. Yeah. Jim Schwartz will be back. Name hasn't come up yet for head coaching interviews.
Not going to after that.
It's not going to after that. And they'll reload, and they'll have Deshaun Watson, and they'll have Nick Chubb, presumably, if they want to pay him. Contract goes up next year. But they're going to have some decisions to make, but one of the big ones hovering is what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. Are we ever going to get a return on this investment?
Exactly, right. Is Deshaun Watson ever going to return to what he was, right? I mean, again, it's another year where you go, he didn't play very much football. It's been a long time since he's really gotten a groove of a football season. That worries me. They got a lot of pieces there in Cleveland. We know that. They had some devastating injuries this year, especially on the offensive side of the ball. That certainly hurt them. I think they're here to stay and going to be a player. But, yeah, you're right. The Watson thing's going to be real. Jim Schwartz has got to go back, too, and reevaluate himself a little. The fact that they come out in the second half and the Texans were throwing the ball on them like that in the first half, and there's no adjustment made, and they just go, we're going to continue to do what we got torched with in the first half and just keep doing that. That's not always a great thing either. But either way, good year for Cleveland. Way to battle through it with 4 quarterbacks. The story was awesome. But, yeah, ends in a disappointing way.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.